it is becoming increasingly popular to use a phone number as a user ID. And can you show us another demo where we can maybe see that our passwordless loving community might be designing a more mobile first or mobile dependent experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've obviously mentioned a number of times the ability to incorporate into any sort of user flows or user journeys. The other thing to make note is that we can deal with any sort of ID scheme. So it can be something like a national security number, it can be a phone number, it can be obviously an email address, which you've already seen, or a username. There's absolutely no restriction on that. All it has to be is obviously a unique ID for a given user, which is fairly standard, obviously. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to launch a new demo called Lottery Land, and I'm going to turn on my phone here. So this one follows a very, very linear flow. And the idea of this was to basically ensure that the user really has no choice, because often when you give users choices, they make the bad decision on what they should do next. So there's only one big button to actually hit, and that's login. At this point, I'm prompted to enter in my phone number. Now, if the account already exists, then it will take it straight through to a verification of that number and allow the user to then choose a PIN. If it doesn't exist, this happens, the user is asked to register. So I put in the information I'm asked to put in. And again, keep in mind, this is not our form. This is the operator's form. So it can have any information. You can make it a 1-step, a 10-step process, whatever you'd like. And I hit next. Now I'm asked to type in an OTP, which I'm going to receive on my phone. And at this point, I'm allowed to choose the PIN. And we're making it a 2-step process. So that way there's no continue button. I choose a PIN and I confirm a PIN. So we're just trying to show lots of little variances in these sort of user journeys. So that's a 2-step confirmation. It did use a verification of that phone number. And now we're in here. So you can sort of see my account and so on. It's all sort of set up. Now, when I log out, of course, and I hit login, I'm no longer asked to put in my phone number. I'm just asked to put in my PIN for my phone number as the ID.
And Michael, with this, so that obviously is very fast. And, I know you like to say, as long as your service is up and running, therefore our service is up and running. If you want to.
Yeah, that's an important point, because one of the big reasons you get these high failure rates, especially when you use secondary devices, such as authenticator apps, is because, first of all, you're now dependent on a secondary device, and that device has to be operational, has to be connected. And I mean, as an example, a phone, even if you're receiving something like an SMS message, it has to have power, it has to have cellular network, and so on and so forth. So if you're using that to log in every time, then obviously you're going to have a problem when it's off the network, or if it's turned, it doesn't have any power, or maybe somebody just left it in their car or something like that. The other important thing is that for the when you then look at how we deploy these technologies, and we can do exactly the same for native apps, we can embed our protocols, our technology within the native app. So that means that when you're using that native app, you're basically just calling on our technology in a seamless way again. And so if your native app is powered up in its connection, our system will work. Likewise, on the website, that's where it really makes a big difference, because in this case, almost every other solution out there would require that secondary device. We're delivering this as a rendered technology in the browser, in your web service itself, meaning that as long as your service is up and running, ours will be up and running. So we like to make the claim of 100% of devices, 100% of users, 100% of the time. And I can guarantee that no other technology out there can get close to that.
Brilliant. Are there other parts of Lottery Land that we should poke around, or we've
I could show you. I mean, obviously a pin reset is going to be pretty, obvious. You're basically just doing another OTP. But if I'm launching another incognito window, and again, this can represent a new device I want to log into. Here I'm asked for my phone number again, but this time when I put it in, of course, I don't have to enter in my registration details. I've already got an account. So now all I'm doing is doing that. Now think about this from a user's perspective. They launched, let's say, a new device, or let's say their friend's house, or whatever you would like, and of course, all they've been asked for is a phone number, which they know, and then they get their OTP, which most users are actually very used to when logging into places. But of course, with our users, they also get to then choose a PIN, meaning that thereafter, whenever they want to log in and log out, they only have to use that PIN. They don't have to bother with the cumbersome sort of SMS OTP system.
Brilliant. I'm sold. So thank you for that. And I think that there's some very obvious differences between the two flows. This one, again, is obviously passwordless, as that's what our solution is. The verification is happening on enrollment and enrollment only, and then using the user ID as the phone number. I'm curious if you spend a lot of time talking to lots of different product managers. Are there a couple of key differences either between these two flows that our clients ask about? Are